Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to the most jacked up segment for the spread, Corked. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with J Dash and JK47. We're going to talk about two guys today that love their steroids. Alex Rodriguez, Mark Teixeira.
I don't think Teixeira ever got busted with steroids, did he? 47?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, he did them.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about the Yankees, specifically Rodriguez and Teixeira. The Yankees still in first place, 29-25 on the season, leading the division by one game, a plus 19 run differential, so they're playing pretty well.
Maybe they bribe Major League Baseball like FIFA does, so that they're just allowed to win all the time, and it's fixed.
I wouldn't doubt it at all. But really, Toronto has the best offense in the division, and the best pitching comes from Tampa Bay, who has been pitching well all season.
But most wins.
Yep, most wins goes to the Yankees. And really, I hated their pitching staff all season. Pineda was pitching like a beast, and then I didn't like the rest of the pitching staff. But now they got Tanaka back. He had a great start in his first outing since coming back from the DL. If they can bring Severino up, a guy that's in the minors and pitching very well, I believe this guy's the top of the rotation type starter too. Then you got a nice 1-2-3, and then you can round it out however you want with Sabathia, Eovaldi, Adam Warren, and Chris Capuano. And I kind of like that rotation in the end, don't you, 47?
I do. It's just a question of when are we going to see Severino.
It is. And I don't think the Yankees are going to be able to stick at the top of this division with just Pineda and Tanaka, because I'm also not 100% sold on Tanaka being back to ace status.
Well, I mean, he's pitched well this year. I mean, he had one bad start. That was just it.
Yeah, and he's been on a DL. Well, really, the questions were, he was supposed to have Tommy John last season. He ended up saying, no, I don't want Tommy John. I'm going to stick with it. And he came back, and he's going to try to pitch without that surgery, and we're going to have to see how it turns out. Like I said, he already went to the DL, so I don't know if he's going to be able to stick in a rotation a full season. Offensively, they have Ellsbury on the DL, and who they called up when he hit the DL was Slade Heathcott, and he hit the DL now. So there's two hitters out of the lineup for him. Brett Gardner's having a good season. McCann's having a good season at catcher. But outside of that, I mean, there's Alex Rodriguez and Teixeira, who we're going to talk about here in a minute. But I don't like Headley at third base. I'm not a big fan of Gregorius at shortstop. Steven Drew's a terrible second baseman, offensively, defensively.
Well, he's been awful this year.
Defensively, he's not terrible, but yeah, he's been awful. He's been awful for the past few years. Beltran and Wright, he's past his prime. And Chris Young in center field until Ellsbury returns. I mean, they have nothing great outside of Rodriguez and Teixeira right now and Gardner. They have a couple prospects. Robert Refsnyder for second base and Aaron Judge an outfielder. I think Judge is 6'7". He's a power hitter. He looks like he's going to be a good player, but he's not ready yet. But it comes down to right now, why are they winning?
A-Rod, baby.
They have
A-Rod.
Pineda and they have Tanaka. But then it's A-Rod and Teixeira with the bat. Rodriguez, he's having a very nice season right now. He's hitting 270 actually.
Especially for 39 years old.
Yeah, 39 years old. He's actually turning 40 next month. But he's hitting 270 this season, which I didn't think he'd be able to do. A 364 on-base percentage, 11 jacks, 27 RBIs, in 178 at-bats. That's 51 games.
Yeah, it's actually nice to see him having a good season, too. You
guys hated on me for liking him at the beginning of the year.
I didn't hate on you for liking him. I thought he could have a solid season.
Well, listen, here's the thing. When he was hitting home runs early in the season, he wasn't hitting for average at all. He hit 5 home runs in April and 69 at-bats, was hitting 232 in that month, though. 15 walks is nice. 23 Ks was a little bit too much. But recently, he's scaled back the power a little bit and actually become a more complete hitter. He has 1 home run in his last 16 games, but in May he's hitting 316. So maybe he can't put them both together. Maybe he's not going to be a huge power hitter and a high average guy. But if he can split the difference, become a decent average hitter, and show power all season long, then you're looking at a very good season. Like I said, though, 1 home run in the past 16 games. I'm not sure he's going to get to that 30 home runs that you believe.
Oh, he's getting there.
Well, see, here's the funny thing about Rodriguez. I just realized it. You look at his average and his on-base percentage for
That's
both
beast.
April and May, okay? And it's 36, almost 37% of the time each.
Yeah, he was
month.
taking a lot more walks in April.
Well, that's the funny thing, I mean, you just basically displaced the walks with base hits and so on and so forth within the 2 months. I thought that was just interesting.
He's feeling better.
He actually ended May on an 11-game hit streak. His average went from 246 to 282 in that span, sitting at 270 right now because he's 0 for his last 8. But
That just means back
who do you
to
think
back
he
home
is?
runs.
Do you think he is more of a 270 hitter, or do you think he's more of a 240 hitter and a power guy? Because I don't think he's going to be able to put both together.
270 with power, baby. 30 jacks and no lower than 260 this year.
What do you think, 47?
I think so. I think he's held on a mission this year. I think he wants to prove that he's still a great baseball player.
I
So
think
do
he
you
wants
think
to
he's
rub
gonna-
it in baseball's face,
So-
honestly.
So do you think he's going to keep up this 270 average, or even in May a 316 average, and bring back the power as well?
Well, the power's going on right now, so he's hitting well right now.
Well, like I said, he had 10 home run in his first 35 games, and he only has 1 home run in his last 16. But he's a more complete hitter right now.
Maybe he just is doing what he needs to do at the plate when the time comes, and before he was needed to drive runs in, and now he's needing to get on base at the moment.
Yeah, it's possible. I just don't see both happening at the same time. Let me ask you this. What would you rather him do? Would you rather him be a guy that hits 35 home runs and hits 240, or would you rather see him be a 275, 280 hitter and maybe 20 home runs?
I'll tell you that. I'll answer that question right now. Whichever one he drives in more runs.
Yeah, right now he's on pace for 81 RBIs. That's a pretty nice total out of him.
Well, the thing is if you're batting 270 and you're driving in 100 runs, but if you're hitting 235 and say you have like 80 RBI,
Right.
How many games
it's
is
like,
he going
look,
to play?
I mean, based on this pace, 33 home runs, 81 RBI. I mean, if he tunes that batting average up and he say drives in 20 more runs, are you taking that? Absolutely.
Well, what was your question, Jim?
How many games is he going to play this year?
Well, right now the Yankees are 29 and 25. That means they played 54 games. So that is exactly 1/3 of the season. So he played in 51 games right now. If he stayed healthy, he's going to play more than 150 games.
Beast. Oh, I hope he hits 50 home runs.
That's a stretch.
Yeah, I know.
Listen, I'm still going to say between 20 and 25 home runs at the most.
30.
But I believe he can stick around a 270 hitter. Look, if you look back, in 2011 he had 16 jacks and 373 bats. In 2012, 18 home runs and 463 at-bats. 2013, 7 home runs and 156 at-bats. Then he was suspended that season, missed all of 2014. So it's been since 2010 when he really was a good hitter and a home run hitter all in one. So it's been a half a decade. So I still don't believe it yet. He got off to a hot start with his power. It slowed down a little bit, but he's turning around with the bat as well. So we're going to have to see how it plays out from here.
What about the other old guy?
Well, this guy has been swept under the rug just because of all the attention that A-Rod's getting. But Teixeira's having an even better season than A-Rod right now.
Yeah, but he's got girly wrists.
Yeah, he was bothered by wrist injuries the past 2 years, but I actually read an article where he said he feels healthy for the first time since the injury happened. He's a little bit younger than A-Rod, 35 years old. He played in only 15 games in 2013 because of the injury. In 2014, he hit just 216 with a 313 on base, 22 jacks, and 440 at-bats. And look, in this season, he already has 16 home runs and 174 at-bats. But the thing to me, look at this. 31 walks already, 29 strikeouts. When do you remember Mark Teixeira striking out this little? Just 29 Ks, and he's almost at 200 at-bats already.
He's got a shake weight now. That's how he works out that wrist. How about the quick workout?
Whatever he's doing, he turned around his career like I could never imagine.
Before that, he's churning butter.
A 357 on base. This guy's having a huge year. He walked more than he K'd just once in his entire career, and that was back in 2008 between Atlanta and the Angels. So it's been a long time since he's done this.
Well, Teixeira, he was a beast at one point. You know, he is actually widely regarded as one of the best hitters in the game.
I remember.
He was in Entourage too, so he's awesome. Not the movie, just the series. Now Dash hates him.
I never did like Teixeira. I don't care. But I think he's playing better than A-Rod, and he's actually leading this offense right now. His 357 on base, the highest since 2010. In May, he hit 258 with a 383 on base, 6 jacks, 17 RBIs, 16 walks with just 12 Ks and 89 at-bats. And he got off to a hot start in June, 3 for 11 so far with 2 jacks and 2 walks, 6 RBIs. He's on a 5-game hit streak. Look at his pace. He's on pace for 48 home runs and 123 RBIs, 93 walks and 87 Ks.
He ain't going to hit no 48 home runs.
No, he's not. But I'd give him a better chance to hit 30 than I would A-Rod.
No way.
Without question. I agree with that.
Nobody cares if you agree.
I think Teixeira, Teixeira just has more raw power than Rodriguez does, I think.
But really,
A-Rod does steroids better.
Both of these guys, it's almost astounding. It's been since 2010 that A-Rod's put up this type of power. We'll have to see if it continues. But it's also been since 2011 that Teixeira has hit more than 24 home runs in a season. He hit 39 that year.
So neither one of them have played good at all for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Now all of a sudden-
A-Rod was in 2011, 2012, he was still a 270 hitter. He didn't play a full season. He still put up 18 home runs and 16 home runs. So he was still a good hitter at the time, just not the elite player he used to be.
Well, think of it this way, too. The last time he put up that kind of 30 home run power was in 2010. It was probably the last year of his career where he was actually healthy an entire season. He missed significant time due to injuries before 2013 whenever he was suspended. And, he didn't have the wear and tear last season, so, he should be ready to go.
He can play with his cocking balls for a while.
Do you believe Teixeira's a 240 hitter again? Well, he used to be close to a 300 hitter, but he hasn't hit anything close to 240 in a while. Do you believe he can keep that up with this power?
Yeah, I think so. It's a 241 batting average. To ask him to bat 270 or 280 would be a stretch.
Yeah, the thing to me is all these walks he's taking, he's waiting for his pitch. So I believe that average is for real, and he really turned a corner in his career. Since you remember back in the day when they started putting that shift in, it really hurt Teixeira. I think he's starting to find a way to keep his average up, even with that shift. And, yeah, I believe he could hit 35, 40 home runs. I really do. He looks like a different player. But is this enough? Is this offense enough to keep the Yankees at the top of this division?
Well, if Ellsbury comes back and he's on base, because, he's important in that lineup.
Definitely.
There's just nobody to replace him. You just don't replace a player like him like he's on base a lot. If he's on base, Rodriguez is coming up. He's driving him in.
Yeah, I'm looking. You got, let's say Ellsbury comes back healthy. You got A-Rod. You got Teixeira. You got Gardner. That's 4 good hitters. You can bring up this Robert Refsnyder, who's a pretty good second base prospect for him. He's about ready for the bigs, so he could come up and replace Stephen Drew, who I think is a terrible baseball player at this point. So I think that would be at least 5 good hitters in this lineup. And let's remember, the Yankees are a team that will go out and spend a ton of money. So if you got a couple good hitters, you got a good 1, 2, 3 in the pitching staff, you can also add 2, 3 hitters by the trade deadline. So if they're in it by then, this team will definitely be a contender throughout the season because they will add some pieces. What's your prediction? Still 30 home runs?
30 jacks, 260 average.
30, 260, 47.
28 home runs.
28. I'm going to say, yeah, I like that 260 average, Jim. I'm going to say 20, what'd I say, 22, 23 home runs? I'll say 23.
30.
There it is. How about Teixeira? I'm going to say 240 hitter and 37 home runs.
How many does he have right now?
He has 16 already. He's on pace for 48.
He'll get 17.
17? I guess he's going to hit 100 by season's end.
No, he's going to hit one more and then break his wrist again.
Okay, so he's going to be a 240 hitter with 17 home runs.
Yeah.
Okay. That's nice. Say a guy's going to break his wrist.
I'm not wanting him to break his wrist. I'm just predicting that it happens.
All right, 47.
250 and 42.
250 and 42.
He's
Huge season out of him.
Hanging out with Barry Bonds again. Brutal.
Right now, he's the American League leader in RBIs, I believe. He has 41 RBIs already, so he's dominating. But really, A-Rod and Teixeira, they both look like they're back and good baseball players. And the Yankees should stick at the top of this division, at least if they can make it to the trade deadline, because then they'll add everything they need to fill out the team.
Well, thank you guys for coming in studio. Thank you, fans, for listening. You guys can follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread. You can follow me on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out the website at thespreadnews.simplesite.com. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to that YouTube channel. A-Rod, 30 Jack.